How could I ever forget when the Nazi hordes came and approached our home? My father desperately trying to stop them from destroying our home. My father fought in the First World War for Germany. He was as proud of a German as any German could be. He donned his medals on his chest and stood outside, waving to the Nazis to hold them off and tell them what a proud Germany he is. A Nazi approached him very quickly, spat in his face, beat my father, and tore the medals off his chest and destroyed them. We could hear my mother scream inside the house, "Nathan," which was my father's name, "Alex, let's get out of here, let's get out of here, they're killing us, they're killing us." We rushed into the house while the Nazis were beating us and my mother. We wound up in the back street against the fence. We leaned against the wooden fence there for a while and nurturing our wounds, and I don't mean just the physical wounds. We felt so degraded. A friend approached us and said to my father, "Nathan, you cannot stay here. These Nazis are so angry and so anti-Semitic. If they see you, they will only beat you again. Why don't you go to your garden?" We wound up going to the garden, not even a quarter mile away from our home, and hid into the gazebo. It was getting cold and windy. As an 11-year-old at that time, I was desperately frightened. It didn't take very long when another friend came to us, and he said, "Nathan, you cannot stay here." He explained that the Nazi who spat in my father's face and beat him found out that my father was supposed to turn in the medals 2.5 years prior to that. And anybody who didn't listen to this Nazi law, we would never hear of him again. He desperately turned to heaven like for a prayer, turned to my mother and said, "Lottie, I'm going to give myself up. Like this, you and Alex will be safe." His friend got very angry. This was a friend he came back from the First World War with. He said, "You never give up in your life. How dare you give up now on your family? Why don't you go to the Jewish cemetery?" We wound up on the cemetery, which had a deep enclave. We went into this enclave to get away from the wind and the cold. We covered ourselves with blankets that were given to us by the Good Samaritans. Nighttime set in, and the Nazis came to the cemetery and destroyed the entire cemetery. It took them a little over an hour to destroy every gravestone. Here we hid in this hole, frightened, thinking that they would know where we are, and eventually they would dig our grave there.